Hello and welcome to day 47 of Awakening to Ascension. Today I will be your host, Shanae, and I'm joined with Marlene and Alex. And today's topic is a really beautiful one because this is where we are able to truly embody our authenticity and our truth and reveal to you exactly what happens. And with that being said, we are going to be discussing an introduction to shadow work. Now, I'd like to just give you a little bit of an analogy with regards to shadow work. It can feel a little bit scary and embodiment of that fear emotion that comes upon us when we need to face the shadow. But today, we are going to make you feel so comfortable to turn your torch on and walk into the dark with the utmost confidence and knowing that facing that shadow is possibly the most beautiful thing that you will ever do. Yes, Alex.
I would say facing your shadow is definitely the most important thing you can do. For those that don't know what shadow work is, your shadow is the side of you that you hide from others. It carries with it all of your wounds, your emotional turmoil, your authentic behavior that you're afraid to let out, to let others see. Now, when we consider honoring the shadow, we honor it as its equal part of creation. So it can't all be light. You have to have the darkness, otherwise, the light would completely blind you. It is a balance. And in order to, if we start from love, from source, the only way that we can experience that love is to have the opposite. So that is pain, that is fear, that is separation. And that's what we're doing here in the third density on Earth in this incarnation. We are experiencing the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs, all of the different aspects of this world. And in order to feel and experience true joy and true bliss, we have to carry pain and wounds for a certain amount of time just so that we can differentiate the two. Once we've experienced the pain, the doubt, the sorrow, the fear, we can learn from that and integrate that into the light part of ourselves. And that is the integration of the shadow self. It is the most beautiful thing. And once you're able to integrate the darkness, the shadow, that allows you the strength. Because remember, the darkness is heavy. You've been pressed down your entire life. And once you can look your shadow straight in the face, don't try to hide from it. Because the more you run from your shadow, it's always right behind you, every step of the way. And the more that you go without acknowledging it, that's when it sneaks up and controls your life. So look your shadow straight in the face. Don't hide from it. Take a big, good hard look in the mirror. What am I missing? What am I hiding from? Address those wounds, address those insecurities, accept them, come to terms with them, and that acts as the shedding of your ego as well. This is what I am, and that's okay. I love the parts of myself that I'm afraid of. I love the parts of myself that I'm hiding from. And then once you can accept your pain and your wounds, you can let them go, and others can begin to love you for you. Yes, Marlene.
That was beautiful. Thanks, Alex. So, by doing this work, you actually stop being a fragmented version of yourself and you become whole. And in that, that is the ultimate, the most ultimate form of self-love because you accept your unlovable parts of you. And when you can do that, it's exactly as you were saying. So Carl Jung used to say, and one of his famous quotes go, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And so, as you also rightly said, we have our shadow. We cannot walk ever on this earth plane in 3D without having that shadow. Yet we feel as though it is not right for us to feel into our little imbalances and our little imperfections. And when people mirror those imperfections and those imbalances to us, we try and run and hide. And that is where, rather, facing that darkness and coming to a conscious knowing of who we are, because that shadow is there. You can't ever put a blanket over it. You can't hide it. You can't go anywhere without your shadow. So the sooner you come to terms with it, the more beautiful and the more ultimate that self-love becomes. And once I love myself and accept myself for truly who I am, then who else will not do the same? It's the most enriching, most powerful process on this God-given earth. It's not an easy one always, but the more we practice and the more we become true to ourselves, man, it just, it gives more every time that we give of ourselves in this process.
Ah,
Janae.
Marlene, yes. You know, you look at it even just as a shadow, a physical shadow. As we walk in the sunlight, the shadow follows us. And when you face the shadow becomes smaller. When you move, you know, the shadow grows and it moves with you. So when you do face the shadow, you'll start realizing it's not always as big as you expected it to be. It's a realization that you need to come to terms with. And something when you are, if you're going to decide not to face the shadow and repress the fear of understanding those darker elements of self, what actually happens is you are releasing cortisol spikes, which can then suppress your immune system. So when you aren't facing your shadows and dealing with those issues in yourself, which is self-love, loving thyself in all forms, what actually starts happening is you are using 40% of your energy to actually repress yourself. So you are depleting your own energy by not facing the truth. And when they spoke, both Marlene and Alex, you know, this mirror that we face, it can sometimes be quite confronting because we are all mirrors of one another. So when you are in a situation where there's somebody in front of you and they are making you feel irritated, or you know, there's an emotion that's coming up in you and it feels like, oh no, that's not me. Oh, no, it is, because there's a reflecting straight back at you. And what you need to do in that moment, that's the moment where most of us run away. That's the moment where some of us explode. It becomes a much bigger irritation. So the mirrors of one another actually get so it gets so full that there's this big explosion, and that's where conflict arises. So when we face these mirrors of one another, that is the most important aspect of shadow work, because the individual staring straight back at you is also dealing with the shadow. You're both triggering one another with something that the other person said or did. For you to sit back for a moment and realize, sure, right, what did they just do? And why did it have such an impact on me? What you then do is you visualize And in the moment, it's a practice again. It's a continuous practice. It's training. Visualize a ball of energy as a mirror, and it's sitting between the two of you. And inside that ball, you can both see exactly what it is that the other person is reflecting back. And when you're able to see it very clearly, the two of you can have a calm conversation about what it is that is the shadow, the dark within you, within them. Because, again, please remember, this journey that we are on here, it's going to be a continuous journey of healing. We are not going to fully be healed. There is going to continuously be individuals that come into our lives and trigger parts of us for us to heal and face our shadow. So when you are able to utilize it in such a healthy way, that's where the magic lies. And it's not like that in the beginning. It's earth-shattering. It's heart-breaking, because you think that this is like, oh my gosh, like they just lashing out at me and I haven't done anything and now I'm this victim, and oh no, you're not. You are confronting yourself, because again, we are all one. We are all interconnected. So they're not lashing out. You're literally staring at a reflection of you that you need to deal with. Yes, Marlene.
Beautiful. I think that at this point, I really need to say something that I've had this, and I do believe most everybody does. Doing shadow work is not about fixing yourself. You are not broken. You are a whole and complete being. What shadow work actually is all about is one word: integration. Because by having, let's imagine, this is a beautiful way of looking at it. If my shadow could sit on the opposite side of the table to me, I can look at my shadow, because that's what it is. It's not behind me, it's ahead of me, it's in front of me. And I can actually have a conversation, because in that conversation, I'm actually understanding and finding a little bit more of who I am, because it is a beautiful thing when somebody triggers us. By having that trigger, we can use it and see it as a map. And by following the clues on the map, it's like going on an adventure scavenge hunt. And that scavenge hunt is about, who am I? And what is this person showing me about myself that I haven't yet discovered or integrated into my beingness? So never think that you are going to have to fix yourself. What you do need to do is become radically honest with yourself. The honesty has got to be very, very real. And when you can do the honesty, then you sit with it and you journal. You don't put filters there. You're not the victim. No, you're not the victim. You actually sit with it, and then you can have the dialogue with your shadow self. And once you can do that, you are then going on to the process of integration. And that integration is where you can acknowledge and find your own golden nuggets within you that the other person has actually graciously, or sometimes very ungraciously, helped you to find and to see. Janae.
Thank you, Marlene. I really do also I need to have all of you understand something in the same breath. We are all mirror reflections of one another. And yes, there are things that we are learning about ourselves in each other. But we do need to get something very clear and very, very realistic. There are individuals, human beings on earth, that every single one of us are here for a different purpose. Some have chosen to come down, to raise frequencies, to understand this, to do this work, to remember. Some individuals have not chosen that path. Some individuals will not understand this work. Some individuals will not realize and grow. So it's as though you're now staring at a mirror with no reflection. So you stare at the mirror, you learn from that individual as a mirror reflection. But when the trigger continues and it then becomes a cycle, and you are very self-aware with regards to mirror reflections, shadow work, who you are, you as a being, self-love, and all of these practices, please do understand that that person then does not become a mirror reflection of you. They've become a preparation in order for you to evolve more. And when you can understand that and step back and not then stare at the reflection, that is when you have mastered integration. So I just really want you all to understand. Thanks, Alex.
Yes, 100%. I wanted to add on a little bit of what you were both saying as far as the mirror and recognizing the shadow. So when we're talking about being a mirror for other person, I'd like to give you an example of what that means. So say we have a very wealthy person, right? And then we have a very poor person. The very wealthy person walks past the poor person and says, "Oh God, I can't believe you're so poor. What are you doing with your life? Gross." The reason they're looking at him that way, that judgment, is because there is something within this wealthy person, a wound about poor. Maybe they were poor in their youth and they are just fighting every bit of their life to get away from that. So their unwillingness to look at that wound causes that judgment against this other person that has done nothing against them. This person being poor doesn't affect this person in any way, shape, or form. I mean, assuming this person doesn't like attack them, you know. And then as far as being able to understand where your shadow lies is when you think about things that you despise about other people, that's the reflection. It's not so much what you care about them, it's because something about that person is something about yourself that you don't like. Here's an example, a personal example of my own shadow. And this is what gives me credibility to talk about this. So I have a huge shadow of a drug history. I don't want anyone to know because I get judged and I get less opportunities and people just don't like me. Fair enough. I understand that addicts cause a lot of damage in society, but there's a lot more going on. In order to integrate that, I look it straight in the face. I don't hide it. I don't hide telling people. And as I integrate this, I can now use this as a power up. So as I'm a therapist, and I actually didn't respect the therapists that I've had in the past because they haven't been through what I've been through. So using my pain, I can now reach people on a different level that would not otherwise be able to be reached. So that is the power of this work. If I continued to hide from it and lie to myself and lie to others, that would only cause potential resentment when the truth finally comes out and fallout for me in the future. So I'm preemptively looking my shadow in the face, saying, I love you for all the experiences you've given me. You're still a part of me. Let's move forward together. Yes, Janae.
I really do appreciate the vulnerability, Alex, that you share in these episodes, because I believe that it is changing a lot of individuals that are either going through something similar or know of individuals in their own circles that are going through that. So I just want to thank you for that, because I think it resonates with quite a few people that are not in a state to admit it. And it's a very, very, very deep, serious topic to be discussing. I would like to end with a practice that you could do. And one must remember that when you are going to face a shadow, you need to tell your body that it is safe to do so. So I want you, as the listener and as the viewer now, to just either close your eyes or just think for a moment of an individual that has triggered you in the past month, let's say. So once you have visualized that individual that has caused a trigger, I want you to tell your body first, before we face the shadow, that she or he is safe. And by doing so, we are going to do one deep inhalation. We're going to hold and exhale, just one breath. We're going to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Slow exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, with this individual, you're going to visualize that ball of energy between the two of you. And because this has been a projection and an energy leak for you, this trigger situation, you are physically leaking energy out of your energetic field. So I want you to look at this ball of energy and at this person in the safe place that you're in. And I'd like for you to repeat, either in your mind or out loud, I recognize this frequency as my own. I reclaim the power that I have projected onto this mirror. I welcome this strength and truth back into myself. I'm no longer leaking. I am whole. And I want you to take that ball in your hands, and I want you to bring it into your solar plexus, where you're going to block the leak. Take a deep breath in and a deep exhale out. Honor this. Take a moment to honor yourself for facing that person and reclaiming your power, your truth, and your sovereignty. You can slowly open your eyes if they were closed. And I want you to understand that sometimes you're unable to do this in situations when it is a little bit heated. So if you do this practice after the fact, I tell you, it will make the world of difference, because it's not going to assist you in any way, shape, or form if you carry that with you. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Janae. That was very powerful, very much needed. So, in closing, we do have a lot to work through. The world is very uncertain right now, and we have a lot of work to do. I've created Facebook group called the New Earth Initiative. I'd love for you to join. If you want any assistance in your awakening journey or your shadow work, we're here for you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.